Hey everybody. So in this video, I wanted to talk a little bit about, as Christians, whether or not we should be praying for narcissists, um, for them to get better, for them to heal, for them to be normal. um, should we really be doing that, as Christians? And I would say yes and no. And the reason I say yes is because Jesus himself has said, pray for your enemies. And let's face it, that's what narcissists are. They are your enemies. And we could also go into other verses that talk about how, the word Satan actually means the opposer or the enemy. So but that's a whole different subject matter right there. But yeah, Jesus definitely did say pray for your enemies, and in that sense, I do think that we should be praying for narcissists because that's what's commanded. Now, on the other side, or on the flip side, the Bible also speaks quite a lot about how the Holy Spirit will rejuvenate us once we become Christians. There are verses even in the Old Testament about how anybody who trusts in me will fly like the eagles. And Jesus was speaking to the Samaritan woman, and he told her, like, anybody who drinks this water will thirst again, but the water that I give them will, not only will they never thirst again, but the water that I give them will, well up into an eternal spring. And even in I think it was the book of John or Matthew, it talks about how, nobody lights a lamp and put it under a bushel. So there are tons of verses like that. You're the salt of the earth. I could go on and on and on. So you have to compare and contrast these two sides of it, I think, because on one side, yes, you have to absolutely pray for those who hurt us, and you pray that they come to know Jesus Christ and become saved. But on the other side, I also think that we have to, if you say you're a Christian and if you say that you're a child of God, then you also have to trust in his promises. And one of his promises is that the water that he gives will well up into an eternal spring, and that you will fly like eagles. I mean, I'm not talking about prosperity gospel here. I'm just talking about spiritual prosperity, so to speak, right? I think that's the right word, actually. Yeah, I mean, spiritually speaking, all this, even the Bible talks about, I think it's in Ephesians, whatever that's good, whatever that's holy, whatever that's pleasant, I don't know if it is pleasant, but whatever that's good, whatever that's loving, think about these things, right? And my question is, how do you exactly think about these things if you're still in an environment where you're being constantly abused and verbally, emotionally, spiritually, whatever, by a narcissist? You can't. You just can't. So I think that's where, we just have to trust in God's promises. He's our Father. And he revealed that in the Old Testament while speaking to Moses in Exodus. So he wants us to be in a healthy, in a happy, in a joyful state or mental state, so to speak. He doesn't want us to suffer. And I gotta say that again, he does not want us to suffer. That's not the God of the Bible. I mean, I'm not saying that he might not put you in a situation where you might have to go through certain things so he can teach you certain things and maybe mature you and things like that. I mean, you just look at what happened to the Israelites in Egypt. So there was a period where God let that happen, so that could be true. I'm not saying that's not true. That could be true, but at the same time, if you don't feel in your spirit that that is not what's really happening, then I will have to ask you to humbly lean on his promises and his, and all the goodness that he wants to spiritually give you. So that's what it is at the end of the day. Definitely need to pray for the narcissist or narcissist in your life, singular, plural. But at the same time, trust in God and trust in God's promises also. Thank you for watching.